Cheers
Cheers
to number one.
Number one. Welcome to our first episode of the Ultralight Gear podcast. I'm Josh, and this is
Paul.
Kind of wanted to start off by asking you, how'd you get into ultralight?
Well, to be honest, I was at school. I was doing observed bike trials. I had a friend who was like, "I'm gonna get you a job at McDonald's tonight, and you're going to buy a new bike." And so, I was like, I know I don't want to be in fast food. So, this guy was like at our high school. This guy was wearing this green uniform and was like, "Hey, what do you want to tell your friends when you get back from summer break? That you flip burgers all summer? Or do you want to be like, I threw a grenade at a wall and blew it up?" And I was like, I didn't even care about the grenade. Like, I'm not like super into like munitions and stuff. But anyway, the fact that he just called out the burger flipping, so that happened literally a few hours after my friend made his offer to get me a job at McDonald's. So I just joined the Army.
Damn, that's a good recruiter.
So yeah. So and it was actually probably really good for me. So I had a lot of experience lugging around.
Basic training? Did you?
Yeah. No,
nice.
I made corporal in like the minimum allotted time, and
nice.
I was peacetime, so I signed up for the final tour of Bosnia. But they only took people with comms qualifications. Now, I had all of the knowledge, but I didn't have the official certificate. I had an official driver's qualification, but I was an infantier. And I did a lot of like reconnaissance style infantry. That's what the unit just had me do for fun because I was really good at running. So I just got to carry a lot of ammunition around. So what happened is our section...
It's so heavy. Army gear is so heavy.
So bad.
All the straps, every one of those straps weighs a ton, and they're just filled with them. They don't even do anything.
This is the thing, is that I'm very well aware of this. And so I knew as soon as the year 2000 rolled around, I was like, ultralight, bam.
Yes.
So, man.
It's funny now, the military is finally getting into it. It's really nice.
Yeah, but it's kind of a compromise. But
it is a compromise. It's true. It's pretty heavy.
Another thing is for some reason my section commander thought I was like some sort of machine gun savant.
You look like it.
I wasn't. But anyway, so we would get these new guys on the gun, and they would get a pretty reasonable jam. It's just a double feed, dude. And so the guy's clearing it, and sometimes it's a little finicky. Or maybe he has to change the barrel before the barrel starts melting, right? And starts drooping. So and then if that thing wasn't firing downrange, he would say once, "So whoever you are, get that effing rifle firing downrange," and then he would be like, Ken, take the gun." And so then I would be carrying around all the boxes of ammo, and then all of my stuff from my C7 that I was supposed to be using as as I don't know. Sometimes I was acting too IC, sometimes I wasn't, but it was it was so annoying. And then they make you walk through water and to be these thick leather boots, and your feet would be wet for a month. But anyway, so I did that, and then I'm also a pioneer for essentially touring on a skateboard. I'm one of the first people to do that with a backpack.
Yeah, actually, you guys should check it out. Long Treks on Skate Decks. Go on YouTube right now. It's amazing. I just finished it myself, so go check it out.
We were an early YouTube success before the algorithm took over. When humans curated the front page, we were on the front page a few times.
Fuck yeah.
So, and then I promptly dropped off the face of the earth. Actually, no, I went into I got more into skateboard racing.
Didn't your friend Adam Colton do a bunch of stuff? Or?
Oh God, Adam Colton. He had a cult following.
Yeah, I feel like he was on the track.
Cult.
He was a writer, right? Did he?
Cult.
Wow.
Just everybody, all the kids, all worshipped him because he was He was at the time the best flatland freestyle guy. Right now, the whole dancing scene is taken off, where everyone's doing flatland freestyle. I call it that because that's what I called it before Adam came along and called it dancing, and was just so prominent that now the sport's called dancing. So anyway, so the dancing scene is taken off worldwide right now, but that guy started it, and we don't talk a lot because he's a bit of a hermit. He doesn't like using phones, but other than that, we're pretty close, I think.
Good, yeah, awesome. I don't know. I see him a bunch all over the web. I was like,
oh yeah,
what the?
If you've seen longboard videos from 10 years ago, you've seen Adam. So Or you've seen work that he's done, because he probably made most of the popular ones, like the Kyle Chin videos and stuff like that. Like, they're all Adam's work. So
that's awesome. Yeah.
When I went to Peru, I brought a bunch of. We had Integral Designs here in Calgary, which is no longer with us. Rab purchased a lot of their.
I think patterns. I remember that. Yeah.
And so, like, I went with a lot of Integral Design gear. I had a Westcomb, like 300 grams 3-ply PTFE jacket, which was the lightest at the time, and but it was 3-ply because I was going to be in Peru during the wet season. So, a lot of Rab gear and homemade, a little bit of like really crappily homemade things.
Oh, that's my favorite. Like,
yeah, the jank.
I don't know.
Yeah,
I feel like that's how Ultralight started. Like. Just like
fully.
Joe's like, yes, I found this sailing material. This is gonna be great. And it's like, no, this is terrible. Actually,
yeah, that's exactly it. Yeah. Maybe I should move up.
Yeah, I guess.
So, how did you get into this, the ultra lightweight journey?
For me, I didn't have anything holding me back, and so when I turned 18 or 19, I finished high school and I grabbed a backpack and I just left and I hitchhiked all over Canada and the States. It was intense. I don't know. I was really young. I looked ridiculously young. I just started from there. And then, I wanted lighter stuff. I never had the money. I was just broke.
Of course.
I was so broke. I was, so broke. And then, I started doing computer work and then, that picked off. It was a good year for it. And, I saved up all my money and just left, started backpacking. So it's more like a traditional. I didn't have a tent or sleeping bag or anything like that. Just a bunch of clothes and just dicking around.
Yep.
Yeah, I went all over Europe and yeah, I don't know. I got kind of old though, you just kind of getting drunk in different cities. And then some guy at a hostel told me about the Appalachian Trail. And then 2 weeks later, I flew down and started. It was the end of May. It was nuts because it's the middle of the season. Everyone was like, you can't finish the trail in time. It's impossible. It's you have 2 months. So you can't do it. 3 months at most. And no, I did it. I did it in 3 months. And
I'm from Canada. I got an extra 2 months to do this.
Oh no, it was the worst. I just flew down from Europe and I had this huge Osprey 80 pack. I had this.
We all start with Osprey.
Oh, I had a huge.
I was almost an ambassador at one point.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry.
No, that's
We're
awesome.
not gonna badtalk Osprey. Everything has its place.
Yeah.
And this was not its place.
Well, it's a starting ultralight. I don't know. Well, I guess ULA is probably a better starting ultralight brand. I gotta say, or a converting brand to ultralight.
Oh, no, for sure. Yeah.
I don't know, but ultralight's a mindset too. It's not so arbitrary. It's you need under 10 pounds for summer.
No, for sure.
If you're climbing up K2, you have 60 pounds of gear, and that's light for K2. That's fucking ridiculously light, actually.
What do you do in the shoulder season up here?
Yeah,
you can still be pretty light.
Kit, yeah,
you can still be pretty light. But
I've pushed the limit of my winter kit, and I've regretted it a few times. And now I always play it safe.
I'm not there yet.
Oh man, I'm slowly becoming a mitten camper, and I didn't know this would happen to me.
I bought I don't know what's 38 Fahrenheit. There you go, Americans. So I got a 3-degree quilt for sleeping at or below freezing for my last little jaunt. Nice. And that was an intentional choice. And everyone's like, is that gonna be warm enough for the ice fields in early October, late September? And I was like, no. but I mean, that reminds me of when I went to Peru and did the Peru-Bolivia thing. I bought a +5, but it was not a +5. It was it was a Marmot pounder, and I was going into the Andes, and they're like, "Is this bag going to be warm enough for you in the Andes?" And I was like, "I'm banking on it not being." And I had a foil blanket that I wore, so I could keep all my sweat, so it wouldn't evaporate, and so it wouldn't cool me down. I was doing the old school Everest style way of boosting your gear in a bivy bag, and I'd wake up with frost on the toe box of my bivy bag. And I mean, I survived, and I was sleeping on rocks, and I still was carrying a 60-liter Osprey with me on that one. Yeah.
Oh no, I was finishing in September on the Appalachian Trail, and I was my sleeping bag was I was getting pretty cold at night in the morning, and I was like, you know what, the emergency blanket. I was like, this is fucking awesome. it's gonna be fucking great. And I wake up, I'm soaked. I'm completely soaked. I'm wet inside. I didn't realize. I forgot about how they create like crazy amount of condensation. You just get soaked, and I did not take all of my clothes off and put that on. Not like that kind of style.
Yeah.
I just like put my clothes in and just like went in. I just woke up soaked, freezing.
Yeah.
My sleeping bag was soaked,
Yeah.
and it's like September. It's snowing. Like, how are you gonna dry your sleeping bag off? It's just gonna freeze. Like, yeah. Lesson learned. Be careful with your emergency blankets. Even if you're using them with a ground cloth, be careful. All right. They have an interesting properties to them.
I did manage to do. I do think I boosted the longevity of my like loft. I mean, it was Primaloft, but I still didn't want it to get wet, and so I was just clammy on the cold nights. Like if I knew it was gonna be cold, I didn't do that the whole time. Admittedly, like
yeah, well, that's good. That's
such
good.
a glutton for pain, but yeah.
I don't know.
Anyways,
yeah. Have you ever dealt with Six Moon Designs or?
I actually have very little experience outside of what I've seen online, and I haven't really seen a ton online. I apologize, Six Moon Designs. I mean, like, I don't know, the patterns look okay. So
no, I like a lot of their designs. I forget, they ended up hiring the designer who made all ULA's backpacks and hired him on to make their line of backpacks, and he made some very interesting packs. I don't know. My friend swears by them, but he's also he has like a front pack and a backpack and like side weird bag. He's like one of those people who wants to distribute the weight evenly across the body. And it's an interesting philosophy, and I think it actually might work.
I tried it. Like, I mean, not to that extent, but as you know, I ended up getting a Joey about a year and a half ago.
Palante Joey,
yes.
Thank you. Yeah.
Yep. And
we'll send them some links when we're done too. So.
Okay, cool, yeah. So I had the Palante Joey, and I like putting things up front. It really does kind of, like, I mean, a couple pounds in the front seems to make quite a bit of a difference.
I think I've never tried it yet. I'm going to try it because I have to try it. Gotta try it.
You gotta try it.
I just, for me, a lot of I hate gear a lot is the finick factor. Mm-hmm. I tarped for the whole Pacific Crest Trail, and it ruined my life. So the finick factor of gear, it plays an important role in like how I view gear and how I rate it and how I see it. Even though it's not as light, I could get lighter if I wanted to, but I don't know. I'm still like a 7-pound base weight. I'm not. Yeah. I'm still ultralight. All right.
I end up going, if I go below 7, it's only so I can carry more camera gear.
That's fair. The only way I go below 7 is if I go stoveless, and I don't go stoveless much anymore. Actually, I don't know. Have you?
When I'm by myself, I'm stoveless.
Wow.
But when I'm with other people, I'm not. Yeah.
That kind of makes sense. I don't know.
And normally I insist on bringing an alcohol stove. I have a Vargo Triad, and I've made a couple pop can stoves. And or we have the hexagon wood stove too, but that's not really ideal for alpine.
Yeah.
But no, I'm a big fan of the alcohol because I can use it for first aid. I can use it if for emotional first aid. In the evenings, if I can go shot for shot with the stove, like, because what I use is a grain alcohol. I cannot pronounce the name. I'm not even going to try. It's Polish, and we're very lucky in Alberta, Canada. In this particular province in our country, we can get the full power stuff. So we've got 96% by content grain alcohol at our disposal in this province.
Yeah, I know most people in Canada actually use like the antifreeze stuff they use in their alcohol stoves. And, I know. Probably a lot of American people have easy access to ethanol, so people don't even. Up here, it's the more antifreeze stuff that they use.
For sure,
it's not good though. I mean, none of it's really.
I don't like how it burns, and I like the fact that I can use the grain alcohol as first aid.
Too.
And it's actually I think it's a higher calorie burn because there's no methanol, and methanol actually has less calories per gram than ethanol does. So I'm actually getting a hotter burn. I'm carrying, or I can. In theory, I could carry. There is no soot, but there's soot with the. I had a little bit of soot with the boat antifreeze that I purchased.
Yeah, because that's my experience too.
I hate soot.
Yeah.
And that's what you get. Unfortunately, my main problem with the wood stoves is that you have a cake of black resin that turns everything in your bag sticky. I mean, I've never let it do that. So what I'll do is I'll bring a napkin and I'll just stick it underneath my pot and put it in a mesh bag.
That makes sense.
It's extra gear though.
I made the mistake once of like, oh, I don't want to use my stove, and we had a fire going, so I was like, I'll just put my little titanium Tokes pot on the fire.
Of course.
And then I was like, oh, because then I get that black soot smear all over my stuff.
But it's not just soot. It's like resin. If you have any softwood in there, I find like you get resin and it's sticky and it just
that makes sense.
It just sticks off to everything. It's like one of those virus demonstrations that the dentists show their assistants. It just gets everywhere.
Yeah, it's no good. I don't know.
If spit was red, you can look that up. That's what I'm referring to.
I was reading this article like last year. It was like some guy broke down like when alcohol becomes less efficient per weight compared to canisters. And he found it was like after 4.5 days, you have more alcohol than you do like a canister weight and yes.
So you can find that at adventuresofstoving.com, I think.
Oh, nice. Yes.
Yeah.
Nice.
If my memory serves me correctly, I could be wrong. Check the description on the video, and I mean we'll have links for that wherever you get the podcast. But, But Adventures of Stoving, it's great. The guy has, at which point is it more efficient to carry canisters because isobutane is so much lighter than ethanol per calorie. But the problem is that you're always carrying the canister. So
you have to factor in the canister weight, which, I mean, that's where you get that 4 days, really.
My first 2 days, if I'm carrying it, are heavier. But if this is for 7 days, then I have 5 days of less weight. I keep it in an 11-gram water bottle that I bought that I'm keeping forever. And I've got a skull and crossbones drawn on it so I don't mistake it as being fresh water or anything. So
yeah, I mean, I'm a thru hiker. So, I mean, you guys should get ethanol in every town on the trail. So there's really no excuse. There's no excuse. You can, if you want to go lighter, you can go lighter. Check out alcohol.
Hobo stoves, you can burn gasoline if you really are okay with a bad buzz. Like
they're good. I don't know. I guess I'm a canister stove user now because I'm lazy. Really.
Yeah. I mean, I bought an Optimus Crux like 12 years ago. I don't think I've ever used it outside of being on my porch.
Amazing.
So
I love it.
Speaking of canister stoves.
Yeah. Oh
yeah, the news just dropped like on the 27th.
Oh, the new Jetboil?
Yes.
Yeah. It looks interesting. I actually started I started the application with no stove, and then I got a Jetboil because I was so jealous of the Jetboil users, and then I was like, this is awesome.
Instant meals there.
I was like, this is great. And like, I was such an idiot. The first thing I did was just put oatmeal and water in and turn it on, and it just burnt all the fucking oatmeal to the bottom of my thing. Like in like 10 seconds. Like it wasn't. I bought it and destroyed it so fast. It's one of the worst mistakes I ever made.
Oh, it hurts to laugh that much. I had dental surgery recently, and it doesn't feel good.
Yeah, you got his wisdom teeth pulled out.
Yeah, last. It's been a week and 1 day.
Yeah, 8 days.
Not quite a full day, but
half.
Yeah. Oh, you were just talking about how.
Oh yeah, the Jetboil.
You baked a layer of insulation to counteract the heat exchanger that they build into the bottom.
They're great. Watch out for them. Like that's all they're great for is boiling water and that's
fast.
Yes, fast. And that's like 95% of what you do in the backcountry. My friend brought a pan on the Continental Divide Trail, and I've been kind of converted for shorter hikes to the pan life. It's
shorter hikes you can get away with more. I go all out on a day hike. Like
you bring everything?
Not everything, but I don't know.
You bring the camera gear.
I'm willing to bring anything on a day hike. Like I've brought gimbals on day hikes. I mean, I've brought gimbals on week longs or 10-day things too. But
I don't know. I come from a thru hiking background. I feel like if I'm not using it in like a few days, I have to throw it away. It's a corrupting mindset. I don't know. It's like, I'm not using it. Gotta get rid of it. Like it's just, I don't know. The Appalachian Trail drove me insane. My backpack I was like 50 pounds when I started. Like I had way too much stuff, way too much clothing. Didn't have a stove, but I still weighed a ton. Everything weighed a ton, and it like broke me. That first month broke me. Like it broke my spirit and body. And then this fucking guy named Lint. I don't know. You can check him out. A lot of linthikes.com. Lint, you remember on the Appalachian Trail 2016? Yeah, you introduced Ultralight to me. You
Oh, well, I mean,
he like came by and he's like
good.
la 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 la. He's like, yeah, I just did 30 miles today. I got 3 more to camp. And I was like, man, I did 21, and I'm like sitting down, like dying, like on the side of the trail, and he's just like rocking out, listening to music. And I'm like, what the like? I didn't believe he was through hiking too. He's like, oh yeah, I'm through hiking. And I was like, what's your base weight? And he's
you're
like,
out for a trail ride.
that's what it looks like. That's what it looks like. If anyone, any first time like people you've ever seen an ultralight for the first time, it's like your instant reaction. You're like, what? Like, what is that school bag? What are you doing? Like, how is this possible? You can't be safe. Like, what is happening? Like, you have too little.
I mean, you can't admit that there's a gamble when you're starting to cut out, like, well, you know, I'm going to bring a Band-Aid and a sewing needle and some, and I can just salvage Kevlar from, like, my mesh and use that to suture myself. Like, that's, I mean, I do it, but.
Yeah, my go-to method is just bring super glue and you close
I bring some Tramadol.
Yeah.
In case I broke my bones. And I can be like, I can walk on broken bones with.
I have a
trigger warning. Tramadol. Sorry, guys.
I have a problem with like first aid kits, you know, like the ones you buy at like Mac or REI. Like, do you have like these huge gauzes and these big Band-Aids? Like, if you're cut open that bad, like you're fucked. Like, I don't know.
No, what you know what I do? Okay, I used to also have a like extreme sports school for like children. So we carried around this coral, like the gauze mixed with this coral that was ground up, and it's like super good for clotting. And you could jab that inside of a gun. Like, I mean, they have ones that are like tampons, and you shove them inside of like gunshot wounds, and it just stops you from bleeding. So anyways, I'll usually bring like this. I like to have a small pack of that, like a small like single piece of like small gauze, just in case. And I have my favorite piece of Z-Pack's gear is like their. Okay, it was until it broke, but it was a hooked needle, and I ended up replacing it. I just, you know, it's a bit brittle. It's brittle when you're trying to sew it through a rock guard. It's not meant to be like a leather awl, like, but I mean, you know, you do what you have to. You do what you have to.
That's ultralight right there.
It being hooked is really good for sewing yourself up. I have my
That's true.
If I'm with Melanie, my partner, I'll have the alcohol, right?
Yeah.
And then I've got a couple Band-Aids. This last one, I brought some Voltaren gel. Yeah,
nice.
because I was having some problems with a broken leg that hadn't finished.
Yeah, it's bad.
That's extreme sports for you.
I guess my point is, always go through your first aid kits. Like, just go through them. If you like, if you don't know how to use it, why are you bringing it? Like.
You don't need all that much.
No, you don't really. But I go through it. That's my greatest suggestion. Just go through it. You know what you have. Like, I hate people who just buy these kits, throw in their bags, and go. Like, what are you gonna do?
The majority of my kit is the Leukotape, actually.
Yeah,
and just
I
wrap
love that stuff.
wrap around. If I have a trekking pole, I wrap it around a trekking pole.
I like that.
Or
when I'm through hiking, I find over time the rain, the soot eventually seeps in and ruins it.
It does wreck it, but
if you're not through hiking, shorter trips, I think it's the best way to go.
Yeah, you're probably right. I mean, I've had it get cooked too.
Yeah, and adhesives respond to heat, cold and heat. Like it's a double whammy. I mean, if anyone's ever had like a glue tent, not a sewn and glue tent, just a glue tent, like you guys know. Any make your own gears out there? Yeah, welded. Yeah. What a term. Yeah. Yeah, you guys know. Anyone who makes their own gear out there, shout out. I love you guys. Amazing.
Okay, so anyways, going back to Jetboil. So anyways, I was going to say I'm really excited about the splined pot holders, like, or the legs, or I don't know, whatever you call them. Because anyone that's used, like, I don't know, a stove has had any, like, shimmy with their pot, or maybe spilled some.
I have a good story, actually.
I mean, this is...
let's
do it.
I was on the Pacific Crest Trail in the High Sierras. I was actually using a Snow Peak Light Max. It has 3 legs, and they fold out, and then it's on a circle thing that you have to spin it out so it's like nice and even all 3. I've been using it for maybe like a year at that point. I used it all through the Appalachian Trail after I got rid of my Jetboil. And I've had it since, and it's become so loose because when it heats and shrinks, the metal, warps a bit. And so it became very loose. Like you could open and close it so easily.
This is heavy usage.
Yeah, heavy usage.
This is not like
this is through hiking.
It's not flimsy. This thing has had
a lot of years,
many lifetimes of use for the average
person?
avid guy that goes out every weekend.
Oh, for sure. I really like that stove, but this one incident, I switched stoves. I saved 0.2 ounces, and I never dropped food after that. And my new stove has a different design.
Mm-hmm.
You can't bend that way, so you can't lose your food.
Yeah.
And that's actually why I ended up going to the other stove, and it has a faster cook time too. Anyway, it has 3 legs, and both of them turned sideways, and my pot fell, and I had like mac and cheese, and I've done a huge 33-mile day in the high Sierras. If anyone knows what that is, it was nuts. Like camped out by Mount Whitney that night, and I was so hungry, so tired. I was sunburnt. I'm like,
you needed something good for the day,
and it killed me. I ended up eating half of it off the ground.
Probiotic.
I couldn't. I mean, I didn't.
Dirt's a probiotic.
I had 1 extra day of food, so maybe I could do it, but I don't like using the extra day of food right away. I don't know. It scares me. I don't know. I've run out of food before, and now I've never run out of food since. All right, I carry extra food all the time. I'm so scared now. I've learned my lesson. I've gone a few days without food, and I've gone a day in the desert without water. All right.
Okay.
So
heat stroke is all the fun.
I
mean, I've done it too.
Have you've experienced heat stroke? Oh my geez. God.
It's more than I care to admit.
Oh man, yeah,
I mean, not so much hiking as doing
no.
It's mostly been skateboarding stuff, but I mean,
that's why
army stuff.
That's why I like you. You're not like the traditional through hiker, like get all the hiker.
I mean, I
accessories.
do.
You have all the hiking stuff. You have all the same gear.
I do hike though. Like
you do. You're a great hiker too.
I section hike, but
well, you have a broken tibia, so I mean, it's
it's fibula, but
fibula. Yeah, close enough.
It's not broken anymore, but I mean, it pretty much was when you met me on the GDT.
Yeah, and you were Mal, your partner. You were crushing her, so it seems like you're doing fine.
You actually saw me while I was chilling too. I think I was getting really excited to climb that steep section because I actually use poles to pole vault myself up steep sections. So I can actually run, but it's more like a continuous jump up really steep stuff.
Do you find you use the trekking poles more uphill or downhill?
They don't make sense. I mean, they're so good for uphill. I can use them downhill. It's awkward. If I'm doing it, it's to give my knees maybe a break if my quads are tight.
Yeah.
But I mean, you can lean back and have excellent form, and as long as you're not tight anywhere, you can probably manage without on the way down. I really like them for climbing. They're so friggin' awesome. Or for even just running. I find the...
Really? You run with poles?
Oh, yeah.
Really? Wow.
I run with poles.
This is the first I've actually heard of that.
I run without, but
Yeah, wow.
But all the time hiking makes me really want my poles whenever I'm out for a run. And I'm going up a hill.
This surprises me, actually. I don't know. Yeah. I start off with poles, and I end up getting light enough that I was like, I don't need these. And I actually found I was wasting less energy, just less time dicking around with the poles.
They do, but you are going to use more. That's like cross-country skiing. You're getting a bit of an upper body workout. But I do find you can't deny that the perception of effort is greatly reduced in any activity with them if you have really good technique. That's the thing. You have to develop the technique for me. But I feel like I'm working when I'm trotting with a backpack long enough.
Yeah.
But when I have poles, I don't so much feel like it. However, there's certain paces where they just don't make sense for me.
And what would those paces be?
It is in the trot range, I find, and or running full speed. I'll just hold them.
All right,
I'll just hold them. But I mean, having a little bit of weight in your hands has its place too. I mean, it depends how you use it. There's like a technique around it, and I can't really describe it so much with the poles with running as I can with like skateboarding and stuff. But
I feel like it lends itself more to longboarding and skiing.
Well,
and
pulling
those kinds of
pushing. There are people that use poles, and I mean, I have once.
I've seen someone use a staff on a longboard before, but I haven't.
It's essentially like paddle boarding.
Yeah, exactly. Actually, now that I think about it.
But I mean, from carrying a video camera for so long, I had this launch technique. Because I mean, we were running film and tape back in the day, so like, So these are heavy. I mean, I was delighted to find out that like guys like you and McGregor were using the same camera gear that I was. For a long way around.
Wow.
When that happened, or the second version of that, they were running the same gear that I ended up buying. I picked out for long treks, but I would launch the camera and time my push just right, and I actually would make my skating more efficient, even though I was carrying the extra weight of the camera. If I was the camera guy for that hour, or
interesting.
Yeah. So, but anyway, I digress. We were talking about running and trekking poles, and we were talking about stripes.
I don't know. I think that's amazing because for me, in my ultralight journey, I ended up ditching the poles, and for a while I was using the one, hexamid style tent, with the one trekking pole. So
yeah.
I ended up eventually leaving trekking poles altogether, and then coming back to a single one for a long time. And then end up just getting rid of it altogether now. I mean, for me too, I when I was hiking the Appalachian Trail, I weighed like 125 pounds.
Okay, yeah, it's pretty light.
Like my body was really light, so I feel like I had a disproportionate advantage, especially once I dropped my base weight down to 10 from 25 that it was when I started.
When the terrain is really three-dimensional, I find my ability to jump 5 feet. I mean, I used to be able to jump that high. Now I can't. But with poles, I can still do it. And before,
that makes sense.
And before, with the poles, I could do it continuously.
Wow.
So like I could jump up boulders again and again and again by like placing them and up. And then as soon as I get about a foot off the ground, I would just double pull myself up.
We gotta also say something. Don't you hold like the world record for like the most kilometers in a longboarding in an hour? I think it's like 100. Oh no, 403 or something.
No, for 24 hours, I did. I was the 24-hour record holder. I mean, I was a two-time world champion in long-distance skateboarding. I did a lot of Olympic weightlifting to support my endurance activities, which people think is crazy. But it's the only explosive endurance sport that I can think of where you have to do explosive endurance for like 6 hours is considered a short event nowadays. I mean, it wasn't back then, but we were doing 24 hours too.
I just want listeners to know out there, when I hiked too, I was doing like 40 miles a day back to back, no problem. And for hiking, that's like double the regular amount. And I feel like for you versus the longboarding community, you are in that range, that double.
Oh yeah, no, for sure.
Double range. And so
I did very, very well.
Yeah, and I don't want people to think
I still have records course records that haven't been beaten.
So don't when people listen to his numbers and his times, keep that in mind. That he's a real athlete. So.
I work with an Olympic level coach too. I'm his assistant. He's had gold medalists in the Olympics for speed skating, and I'm an assistant of his. I mean, now we're focused on youth. That's pre-national team because the national team is a weird environment. But
it is.
Anyway, what I was saying when we weren't recording was at what point, like I understand lightweight's a thing, but for some people they're trying to be light so they can support a pace. And at what point do tasks interfere with that pace? Maybe if you really are insistent on having your hot meal in your stomach at the end of the day, because I mean it feels great, but if you need that psychological boost, which most people do, I guess. If you want to get it done fast, like I've seen, it's been verified that it's a 2.5 minute boil time for 500 milliliters, and like that's not just coming from the manufacturer. That is what the manufacturer claims. That does make sense, and maybe it's worth the extra $150 50 grams ish for. I mean, I'm gonna say
4 ounces minimum for a canister. Minimum.
Plus the canister, but
and that's without the gas. So.
Yeah, so it's a 200-gram system, plus your canister, I believe. You can get rid of the feet, but I mean, maybe you want those little plastic feet. Those are only 12 grams probably.
Yeah. I always think of it, if you're bringing a canister stove, minimum a pound. Like all together, everything, stove, pot, spoon, spork, whatever.
If you can afford it with your kit, like with your kit out, like the gear that you've selected, if you can still keep pretty light and you're trying to just get things done fast, who knows? Maybe there's maybe the odd person, it makes sense. And if you're not a freak about stuff, maybe it's a really great idea because, I mean, it's a jet boil without canister, but it works with the small canisters. It's a jet boil for 200 grams, so I guess for the average person that isn't even being super ultralight, like it makes a lot of sense for them too, right?
Yeah.
There's a use for everything, or else they wouldn't be making these things.
There's this awesome thing. The stove I use now is actually Olicamp Kinetic Ultra. It weighs 1.7 ounces.
That's not bad.
Yeah, it's 0.2 less
can stove, right?
Yeah, 0.2 less ounces than the Snow Peak Light Max, which is nice. It actually has a bit faster boil time than the BRS 3000, which is nice.
Oh wow, okay, interesting.
Which the BRS 3000 has a great boil time for being 0.6 of an ounce. Or 0.7 of an ounce.
I'm blown away by any canister stove when I actually use one because I'm so used to 20-minute boil times with my girlfriend.
I know, right? I mean, but the boil time on the one that I use now. But they also have a, this is the pot. This is in the same company that I use my stove from. They actually made a pot that reminds me of jet boil. It has those fins at the bottom. I don't know if you can see it.
It's a heat exchanger.
Yes, a heat exchanger. Thank you. And it works great with my stove. So pretty much, I mean, it is 190 grams. So it is probably the double the weight you need for the volume. But if you factor in the boil time, for me, finick factor plays a huge part in the gear I use. If it's too finicky, I stop. I switch over to something nicer.
For sure.
But I come from a long trail. If you're only going for a week, then the tarp is only annoying for a week. It's actually not too bad.
That's why you don't like the bivvy bags, I guess.
No, I bivvied all the Pacific Crest Trail. I've
been in a bivvy for pretty much any long trip I've ever done.
Oh my god, yeah! You use the worst bivvies too. I saw those long treks of skate decks.
Those are the nice ones.
No,
I use
those are not
really bad ones now.
No,
I use an Event Soul Mountain Laurel design now, and
that's awesome.
It's great.
Mountain Laurel Designs is one of my favorite ultralight companies.
Oh no, they're
over Z-Packs, over most companies actually. I fucking love them. Shout out to them.
I will often not bring the wire, so it just sits on my face. I'll need to wear my baseball hat just so that I don't have it resting on my face.
Oh man.
Yeah,
I don't miss it. I don't miss this at all. I don't.
My plan is to not give myself a choice.
Oh my god.
So I have to be happy with it.
I don't know. I ended up biking across Canada in 2015, and I was like, obviously I'm not going to bring a trekking pole, so I needed a freestanding tent, and I've almost been converted to the Big Angus, the UL Fly Creek one.
Yeah. They're doing them in Dyneema now.
I know the Dyneema, but it's 0.34 ounce per square inch.
Yeah.
Dyneema. It's super.
It's not even paper thin. It's a fraction of that.
Z-Packs has a tarp that made out of it, and it's called an emergency tarp.
I know. I want one.
It's actually really cool.
I want it so bad.
But they have another hexamin with the doors with the emergency tarp fabric. I mean, it's dope. I mean,
I want it without the doors, but because
what is
it?
It's have you ever tried the Cricket of the MLD? It has no door, but the same kind of design.
No.
But
I mean, I haven't really bought anything that for myself that isn't a bivvy bag.
That's fair.
Ever.
I'm a gear whore, so I have a shit ton of gear, and I love testing gear.
If your pot is 190 grams, the jet boil pot and burner and lid is 200 grams.
201 grams.
201. Oh.
Ooh.
Jet boil. Get your crap.
No, it's on their website. That's what it says.
Oh, okay. Good job. Jet boil. So anyway, I also usually use those when I'm cooking stuff, I will bring a hot lip or two for myself and for Melanie. And so They actually have that built into the lid too, which is pretty rad. So you can actually keep the lid on and use it as a sippy cup and not burn your lips.
Amazing.
So, I mean, it's the little things.
It is. It is. Honestly, if you've ever been on a long trail, it is the little things. On
for sure.
long trips, it's the little things.
I mean,
they can break you too.
No, that's actually it. You know, most marriages are break up over the little things, not the cheating, but more so like the guy that doesn't do the dishes ever, like the inequity of house labor. And I know I need to be better at it myself. But
thank you, Mel.
Yes, thank you. But like it is the small things that we're more equipped. We equip ourselves mentally to deal with major things. And we let the little things slip under the radar until they build up and we explode.
Yep.
At our stoves. Or significant others.
Oh my God. Yeah.
I mean, there's gimmicky stuff like the fuel canister a small fuel can can stick to the lid so it doesn't jangle around and like wreck any coating that they have. I believe they do have some sort of coating. I don't know. I have not yet seen this pot in person. I'm going off of not just the manufacturer though. Yeah, and I know like handles are good. The Flash had a loop on a neoprene sleeve, right? So
I'm actually a handleless Tokes crowd now.
Yep, sweet.
I mean, I think I've
been wanting one of like the Snow Peaks with no handles. I love those things.
I think if you're looking like there's grade 2 and grade 3 titanium. I mean, there's other grades too, but grade 2 and grade 3 titanium is the ones you're going to see on pots and pans. Yep. Grade 2 is a little bit heavier. You'll see that the MSR kettle pot, like stuff like that, that's titanium 2. But Tokes is all titanium 3, so it's thinner, it's stronger, it's lighter, but more expensive, obviously. So, you know, that's where you go really when you go buy Tokes pot and you're like, why is it $20 more than this pot right here? It's because it is made out of titanium grade 3.
We've had some conversations now at this point, but we're actually pretty new friends. Like he's telling me these stories, and these are
this is the first time he's heard them. All right,
for sure.
We met on the Great Divide Trail here in Canada. Coronavirus is still going on right now, so
we're in our second lockdown here in Canada, and Canada is doing fairly bad compared to a lot of other places. I think.
Pretty bad.
We're not U.S. levels. I mean, sorry U.S., but I mean we're not doing that much better.
Few places in some places. Alberta and BC are on point with the States, actually.
Yeah, Alberta's not doing so hot.
Well,
per capita, we don't have very many people in our landmass.
Like it's in this province. Sorry,
in this province,
probably like 43. Is it 43 million in Canada?
I mean, we can look it up. We could just throw it onto the screen. We just flash it on the screen.
You see it right here. Wow, that's the correct number.
Anyway, yeah. That's pretty much it.
Yeah, and so we've been isolating. We've been staying away from each other.
We've just had a lifting of the restrictions somewhat, and as long as it's like a loner, I guess.
Well, you're my cohort, I guess. I mean,
now we are.
I have one work cohort, and I guess that's
the same for me. Yeah.
That's it. That's all I got actually.
My work cohort, I still only see every 2 weeks, so we have a really good understanding.
You have a COVID breaker level.
Yeah, exactly. So like, if I will meet with him, and I met with him earlier today, but I had showered, so there's no way you can get anything from me at this point. And
I have this question. It's not really ultralight related, but how's your mental health doing?
I think I'm doing pretty good.
That's good.
Physically, I'm not doing so hot because I don't have a barbell, and also I'm still kind of figuring out how my previous injuries have affected things. So I'm definitely having some issues to work out there, and that's not great because I'm used to being to be frank. Like I mean, I've done a lot of like elite level training, so I mean I'm having a bit of an existential sort of thing with that, but nonetheless I find that I'm doing really good because I'm spending so much time furthering my knowledge, getting up to speed with new technology for cameras, and learning new techniques, and actually getting into video editing more than I ever really had. So I've had a lot of friends, colleagues, and a few people that from outside of my group that need stuff delivered online now with the pandemic, and
Yeah.
I'm lucky to be able to help them out with it and make a little bit of money off of it, and it's turning into its
That's
own
awesome.
thing. It's starting to like I'm
That's
ready to
beautiful.
start my own production things here pretty soon. Still have a few things to learn, but like, and I was lucky because my spouse is a professor at the university, and she needed to deliver stuff online. Asked if I could do it, and
Wow.
apparently we did a really good job. Their students thought that
I believe
we
it.
did
I
better.
don't know.
Anyway, that has nothing to do
No,
with what
no,
we're
that's
talking about.
awesome. No, and we're talking about mental health, and I feel
Yeah,
like
how about you?
Oh, I mean,
It's not easy.
It hasn't been
Most
easy.
people, I think,
I-
are friggin' tanking right now. And I mean,
Yeah,
I've been in some pretty rough. We've both been in pretty rough situations.
I had a rough childhood, so I feel like I'm really good at dealing with stress and everything. I'm really good at bouncing back fast. You know, and I feel like I have bounced back. It's just I feel like there's nothing bounce back to. You know, I go to a lot of music shows. I go hang out at bar. I meet up with people. I love meeting new people. That's one of my favorite it's probably my best hobby. I just love meeting new people, and you know.
So you like through hiking?
Yeah, that's the real reason I like through hiking. But no, I feel like I don't have that part of my life right now. I feel like that was for the last 8 years a huge part of my life, and meeting people, talking to people, and this podcast comes into it too. You know, I really wanted to get people on here and talk to them, and I'm hoping this could be my outlet where I can get, you know, I know a bunch of manufacturers and ambassadors, so I feel like I can get people on here, and you know, I want to get people on here, and I just want to get that part of my old life back, I guess. Really, you know, is what I'm trying to reclaim it, and yeah, you know, it's coming slowly, and you know, mental health is always a work in progress. So
For like episode 4 or 5, we're gonna probably start bringing in the community
Yep.
to a degree.
yeah,
So
I already have a few people lined up actually. So
Yep. Well, I mean, that could even happen before, but I mean,
Yeah,
like,
no.
I mean, even just like anyone that might be watching, or
Yeah.
like the message board community, like, or the through hiking Facebook groups will probably be.
Anything ultralight, pack rafting, longboarding. I don't care what it is. Light cameras that you're taking on the trail, light microphones.
Oh, we'll talk about cameras.
Yeah. Like anything, everything ultralight. This is what this podcast is about. It's yeah.
Let's pause. And it was like, I will eat powder. I'll eat powder every goddamn day. I'll do, Handy Andy, he did the glucose, was it just like glucose powder? I mean,
Oh my god.
when I heard that, I was like, dude, you need to do a 4-to-1 glucose to protein ratio for best endurance activity, like so that you can actually synthesize contractile proteins as you're breaking them down, man. You would feel so much better by the end of your FKT. But like, that was my first impression of Handy Andy. Before I knew he was like really good at making backpacks, actually.
Really?
Yeah.
How did you know Andy Palante?
Yeah, well, he's actually kind of cool with the Loaded crew, which are a like for loaded skateboards.
Oh wow,
So
really?
he knows like Dusty.
Wow.
He knows a couple of those guys, and he met my so my friend just did the John Muir Trail, had just done the John Muir Trail a week after Handy Andy had done his FKT, and this was back whenever it was, and I was working with John. This is just when I disappeared to the great white north of Canada, and I was up there cleaning up messes and preventing other messes. That was what I did for work for a bit. And John and I worked together, and then he went away and did the John Muir Trail, borrowed some of my gear, was way too freaking cold. he didn't bring enough food, though. He found the equipment was actually adequate when he had eaten enough, but nonetheless, he had a miserable week. And then he got off the trail, and someone was like, Handy Andy, he just did this in a week. And so anyways, he went down to Arizona and was skateboarding with the Loaded team because he was a team rider at the time.
Nice.
And excellent free rider, like the kind of guy that can go into a corner switch and do a backside like power slide at like 80 kilometers an hour for like 40, 50, 60 feet into a tight corner, and then just makes the corner, like stop going straight and just start turning without actually stopping sliding. So like, and he does no regular, like left or right, doesn't matter. So anyways, this is John, and John is hanging out in Arizona. And John's hanging out in Arizona, and he's like, skating with this guy, and he's like, yeah, my name's Andy. He's like, oh, sweet. And they're talking. They're shooting the shit at the top of the hill, which is what you do.
Yeah.
And Buddy says, like, yeah, I just did the John Muir Trail. He's like, I just did the John Muir Trail. And your name's Andy. And he's like, are you Handy Andy? And he's like, yeah. And he's like, holy frick, dude. Because he says frick. Holy frick, dude. You did the FKT. And he's like, yeah. And so anyways, they got talking. And then Jonathan actually told me, like, yeah, this guy Handy Andy apparently makes backpacks. And so then I looked for, like, Andy backpacks. And that's how I actually was like,
That's
hey.
how you found Palante?
Yeah, man.
Wow.
And so, like, I mean, I was just sort of getting back into it because back in the day, there was not a lot of offerings, right? Like, we did not have a lot back when I was trying to do lightweight backpacking and or skate packing. And I did both.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No,
Yeah, I
still do both.
And so, anyway, and then I was like, hey, Andy, like, I know you say you're sold out of these things on the website, but, like, can I get one of these? And he was like, and I was like, and do you know the Loaded guys? And he's like, he wrote back, like, I know who you are.
Wow, really?
And he's like, I have a couple set aside. I mean, I'm sorry, viewers. He had a couple set aside. Maybe I should be saying this.
Well, no.
But he made sure that I had it before the end of the week.
Wow.
And because I was planning on doing a skateboard race across America, which ended up being canceled. But nonetheless, I was planning on doing this, and I wanted something. And he said, see if you like it. If you like it, we'll talk about what it costs. Otherwise, you send it back. And I mean, that's sort of how he did it. So he made sure I had it by the end of the week. And I went for a trail run with a sleepover in, like, a bear denning area, which is brilliant, by the way, with only a tarp. And and I friggin' loved it. Like, I was running down the hill, and the fact that it goes up and down. It's not a running vest. It's still a backpack. But I found suspension wise, it was superior to everything else that I'd used, and I find that it just feels.
It feels like a very niche product.
It's a very niche product. Maybe I've been using it for everything. I just make sure whatever it is, I tailor my gear to fit the bag, to be honest, just because I find it so comfortable. To me, it feels like my thing with Osprey. Keep in mind, okay, the reason I was almost an Osprey ambassador was just because I didn't do another friggin' expedition, and I had been so, like, into their bags at the time when they first came out with the Exos.
Yeah, I mean, still a lot of people. It's a game. I feel like that's a game changer.
It's so comfortable.
It's like, what is it, 3.5 pounds?
I mean, it's heavy by lightweight standards.
By ultralight standards, but
geez,
for a frame, it's pretty good. It's good.
I can overload the crap out of it.
I don't like the straps. Over time, they stretch.
I've stretched them. I've had straps fail, but, like, I mean, I find that, like, that was because I, like, crashed a skateboard, like, at, like, 70 or 80 kilometers an hour with them, and I ground through the strap. But nonetheless, I found that, like, yeah, sure, they're it's like that soft, it's like a EVA foam, but I find that it's, like, I honestly don't care. I think it feels great. But
and Osprey has an amazing customer service. I ended up replacing that 80-liter backpack.
Mm-hmm.
It broke something on it, and I just got a new one and sold that. So.
Oh, wow.
Thank you, Osprey, for giving me that new backpack.
But no, I really do, like, if I have my brother last year was buying a backpack to hoist around axes and paddles and all this kind of stuff. He's more of a bushcraft type of guy.
Uh-oh.
And so, I mean, he's been doing it. He used to steal my Army combats when he was, like, a 14-year-old, and he would just disappear. He would go, hey, Dad, I'm going for a walk. My dad would be like, okay. My dad's a newfie. And then my brother would just go off into the bush and then with a can of beans and then come back a week later with frickin' squirrel pelts and be like, yeah, wild dogs had to sleep in the trees, and I mainly, ate this whatever weird type of moth larva because that's mostly protein and it's not toxic or whatever. So, I mean, that's his thing. He worked at a bug museum in Victoria and would feed the spiders one for one with crickets. Like, he'd be like, one for you, one for me. And then, like, people would be like, ah, whenever they would see him. Like, so he's a bit of a guy. Like, but anyway, yeah, like, he was buying some stuff for going for this, like, week or 2 week long hike up a mountain into a little pond that was up on top of this mountain in the middle of nowhere in BC, and they were going to go fishing and stuff like that. And he needed a new backpack. His backpack sucked, and I was like, man, it's outside of your budget, but this is going to carry better. And he was like, well, we'll see. He tried everything else on, and I made sure that we brought things from all over the store and loaded them in the bag. And he was like, yeah, okay, I think you're right. And then the Osprey bags, they carry weight well.
They do.
But
I'm not gonna lie about that.
If you don't need to carry over 25 pounds, like
my backpack on the AT was like 5.5 pounds.
Yeah,
just that.
So you don't need it.
My base weight's 7 now, so that's
what I'm gonna give Osprey.
It's 1.5 pounds off my base weight now.
And that's why I liked Osprey so much too. Like,
and don't get me wrong, if I do any like crazy winter stuff, like I will take this pack out. You know, like I'd love.
That's what I use it for. Is when I got crampons and stuff like that, and ice axes and rope. Like,
because I'm the hip beltless crowd. You know, I have no hip belt. That's how I through hike. You know, just a small backpack. Yeah, that's my style.
Well, me too now, but like.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, Joey. I like running vests. I just wanted a large running vest. So
and that's what you got.
I found that it was like, it held well. I found it was comfortable, as comfortable as my Exos when I wore it. The only thing is that your back sweats. You get sweaty back.
Oh yeah.
But whatever, who cares? Like really, like
I'm on the
in the States,
crowd.
You're gonna be sweaty everywhere.
Oh, yeah.
So as a Canadian,
sweat.
Maybe you're not going to be as used to being totally drenched. But so when you take your backpack off, you got to be careful not to get hypothermia. But aside from that, I'm freaking stoked on the way that it carries. So I've been using it solidly for the last year and a half, and I'm pretty happy with it.
What do you think of like the new backpacks, like Lumina and whatever, like the new lightweight Exodus style backpacks?
Yeah, I've been wanting to try them because
they're just grid stop. They're just lighter material, pretty much in the exact same,
And I hear the Six Moon Designs actually has their Fusion pack is quite Exos-like in feel and carry and design. It's not the same style of frame.
No, it is not. It's completely different.
I find that intriguing because, for me, the Exos and I have been through some crap together, so I have an emotional attachment to that thing.
That's fair.
It's like an old friend that I don't talk to anymore. But, I'm not willing to erase them from my Facebook friend list. It's still in my closet.
Oh, man. I'm so guilty. I just have a bunch of Zimmer built backpacks now.
Yeah.
Oh my god! If you haven't gotten a backpack to him, check him out. He now makes just like these generic, ready-to-made backpacks. The Quick Step, the Big Quick Step. They're fantastic backpacks. If you're focused in lightweight backpacks, obviously.
Yeah, I've not
bare minimum.
That's the brand that I keep hearing everybody is so
amazing.
Happy with.
It's so fast. I ordered a custom backpack and I got it in like a week. It was obviously not during COVID. Obviously now if you order anything in the States, it's gonna be a long time. But
fabrics.
Yes, exactly. But went back. It was incredible speeds. Like honestly, that guy went far beyond what he needed to do, especially for how much money I spent. It was.
He's a young guy too, is he not?
I don't know. I think he's like in his late 20s. I don't know. I would actually, if you're ever listening, Zimmerman, I guess your last name is Mr. Zimmerman. If you'd love to come on, I would love to have you on. You are incredible. I love your work, and I would love to get a word in with you.
We should do chats with our backpack people, and we have a local guy who, if you guys know, named Dan Durston. We should bug him too.
Yes, let's get Dan Durston on. Oh my god!
Especially if we want to talk GDT.
Yes, because I love the one XMID, the XMID 1.
XMID, yeah.
Yeah, it looks phenomenal. I think it's. I feel like eventually everyone's just gonna copy it. It's just gonna be like the Hexamid design that everyone ended up copying, and then end up dying off from its original maker. And I feel like this is gonna come down a similar path. I don't know. But
hopefully not. But only you can prevent that.
I don't know. I feel like Dan Durston has a bright future ahead of him. Yeah. Seriously, I don't know. And another tent that actually has been reminding me of a lot of Dan Durston. I don't know if you've seen it. I don't know. I talked a bit about it the other day. The Seek Outside Ciliax.
Yeah.
Silax? I don't know.
We can't read.
I don't know how to read. I'm not.
We get all of our content from YouTube.
Yes.
No, I'm joking.
No, we
No.
Reddit.
Yeah. Reddit. I mean, Backpacking Light
Backpackinglight.com.
used to be good.
It used to be good.
I mean, back when this was
now you
all
want me to
new,
pay $10 to post
when
like
Gossamer Gear was like the only backpack company other than the Osprey XOs.
to pay $10. I know. I must admit, with the recent influx on the Ultralight subreddit, it's noob city. Like, I'm not gonna lie with you about that. I frequent the sub and I love the sub, and I've been there since it was like 30K people, and now it's almost 300K.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's
tenfold.
Yeah, it's grown massively, and obviously it was gonna go in this direction. It made sense, really. A lot of the shakedowns, a lot of
For
things
sure.
I don't agree with anymore. I feel like it's taken a more mid-range approach, which is I mean, coming from such a hardcore ultralight mentality can be hard. You know, I feel like I was thrown into the deep end on the Appalachian Trail, and I just, I was willing to cut anything, anywhere, at any
Never
second.
came up for air.
No air.
That happened with my industry, with the whole, because longboarding was super lame when we started and we didn't care. And then eventually it became cool, except for fixed geared riders would bug me all the time. But then I would be like, I can ride your bike better. And they would.
You can ride fixed better.
Maybe. I could probably ride your bike backwards better.
I can ride my road bike backwards really well.
Okay, well, maybe not. Maybe not. I haven't been riding bikes.
I'm a bike messenger, by the way. I've been a bike messenger for 7 years.
I'm an ex-observed trials cycling rider. That's why I joined the army, so I could buy a Brisa.
That's awesome.
But
I don't know. I feel like the community. I love how it all comes around. Longboarding, biking.
Yeah, I mean. I get it. I always saw longboarding as being the fixed gear of skateboarding, to be honest, as being from the technical handling side of things and cycling, and then being made fun of by fixed gear guys. I was like, okay, dude, seriously. First of all, your assumptions are true, but not when they're focused on me. And what I'm getting at here is that you're gonna have an influx of noobs that mall grab skateboards, or that I don't know, that don't take their backpacks off when they go shoulder deep in a freaking stream, or river. You're going to have these people. I mean, you want to make sure that your community is doing its part to keep them safe.
That's true, yeah.
So, but we got to be careful, because as the hardcore people, we have to be really vigilant with ourselves not to come down on these new people at all, because it's so easy to be like, oh, you're new guys, or you're whatever, you're not to be too surfer bro about it, like the actual hardcore surfers that guarded their friggin' section of beach. We have to be really careful, because inclusivity is honestly making your industry what it is, and it's the lightweight gear that we have nowadays compared to what it was when we were still doing pretty good. It's awesome. I'm like 40 now, so no, I'm 39. But when I was in my 20s, the ultra lightweight gear group was not what it is today.
No.
Let me tell you, and it's interesting. And I'm rambling here, but
it's okay.
But yeah, we have to be really careful to check ourselves. I know it can be frustrating.
No, I think I agree with that point. I'm not trying to gatekeep or anything. I just
I don't get that from you.
No,
just
I've given a lot of
it's just a point.
A lot of shakedowns on the trail, and I feel like that twitch nerve where I just want to be like, oh, I want to help someone, but it doesn't come. It's unsolicited advice. That's
true.
No one loves it. No one likes it.
It's like being at the gym. It's like that girl does not care how to squat right now.
No, she doesn't.
You. I'll go to the gym and I'll see stuff and I won't say a thing, but because no one asks.
Yes.
Even though I actually train youth how to maybe do technical lifts, even though I'm a skinny guy. That's the thing, is no one believes me. But that's.
I don't know. I think that's a great point. And I feel like
inclusivity is going to help the community. It's going to help the companies do well, and the companies hopefully are. Yeah. I've seen it where they are paying into it's a grassroots scene, right? Still, at
It
this
was.
point.
I don't know. I
You
feel like
it's
with the
tipped over?
coronavirus, with the recent push and getting people wanting to get outside, really.
Oh yeah.
I feel like these next few years for this community is just going to be exponential. Like
Okay.
I know I've been stuck inside and I want to get out even more, and it sucks because I am that person already. I do just grab stuff and I grab a backpack and I just go.
Yep.
And right now I feel like it's not the right decision. So I've been, making the right decisions, I feel like, but it's hard. It's hard, and I miss that lifestyle.
Well, I mean, yeah. It's a totally different world.
It is.
It is.
And I'm so happy with all you new people in Ultralight. It's a breath of fresh air.
But yeah, sometimes it's a bit much in a message board.
And we still love you, Jazzmore, please. Everyone, all the mod team and Ultralight, we love you guys. Especially the new mods. See, I feel like...
I don't know. Like I did say we should circle back to Six Moons Design to finish us off.
I'm gonna talk about our we just started talking about this, so this is brand spanking new for both of us.
Mm-hmm.
We met on the Great Divide Trail. I just did a section of it, a big section of it.
Same with me. Like I just did a section.
I wanted to do it. I should have done it actually. I was afraid the weather wasn't gonna hold, but the weather did hold.
Because I went out a month later and I did
it got cold for a few days.
I skateboarded from Jasper to Waterton about I think it was about a month after.
Yeah.
So with a +3 quilt, and a bivy bag. So the bivy bag helps, I think, but I mean, I did that.
Yeah, I should.
It snowed on me a couple times, but not much.
Not much. That's what I mean. I snowed on me, and I was like, "Oh shit, I gotta get out of these mountains." Like I've been in the mountains late. I've been in the mountains late September. I've done this before, and I know the risks when I get on the peaks. And I've been in avalanche zones. I don't like being in those situations much anymore as I used to when I was younger. I was ballsier when I was younger. Now I'm like...
Is it ballsy? To be like the mountains, especially when you're like isolated?
I made a terrible decision on the Pacific Crest Trail. I went into the year. I was way too early. It had way too much snow. It was a high snow year. Only a handful of people actually made it through my year. And
PLA?
No, I didn't have any PLA, no GPS. I'm hardcore ultralight. Don't care about communicating with anyone back home. I just back then too. Now I have a partner. It's a little bit different. Back then,
think of your pets.
She'll be fine. She'll be great. I don't know. She loves me, but she'll be fine. And I made terrible, terrible, terrible decisions, and I'm glad I did. I'm glad I made them. I learned them fast, and
my first thing I did was buy Freedom of the Hills, which is kind of like the Bible for mountaineering and stuff like that for entry level. And I mean, it was a really good way to go about it because I also joined the army, so that was probably stupid. It's not stupid. It's not stupid. Okay, like I'm sure we'll even have people maybe we'll have people that listen in that were in the military. I take it back. That was the wrong word. I just joined foolishly, as we know. Like I didn't really give it much thought. I did well, but only because they gave me a clear outline of what to accomplish and what time to do it in, and that's how I tend to work.
I hiked with this guy on the end of the Continental Divide Trail. His name was Gazelle. His trail name was Gazelle. He's from Norway. Mm-hmm. But when he was in high school, his draft was still on, so everyone in his high school went to military, and I was kind of envious a little bit because they all went through this crazy winter survival training course.
It's so fun. I was so good at that. Everyone else was miserable. But all you have to do in the winter is just move a lot and work really hard, and you will actually not need to wear as much cold as everyone else.
Just make a huge ass fire. Work your ass off. Make a huge ass fire.
Sure, but there's stuff that has happened before, or
and they have different things too. Different survival tasks.
If it's winter warfare too, you have to maintain weapons. You gotta go skiing or snowshoeing or whatever, to get from here to there. There's no fire. I found it was oh, I don't want to drag the sled, and I'd be like, I do. And then I would just wear a layer less, and people would be like, how are you so comfortable? And it'd be like, because I'm actually doing something, and you're just sitting there getting colder by the hour. And so, I don't know. I really like that stuff.
At At least someone loves it.
Yeah,
Well,
but I did. I mean,
I feel like
people thought I was hardcore.
we're
but I
always
was soft.
We're glutton for punishment. I don't know. I feel like if you through hike long distance anything, you hate yourself. You know,
Spicy foods.
spicy foods.
you
I
got
love it.
Grapefruit.
Love it. Amazing.
Yeah.
Don't like grapefruit. Though.
Oh, you know, okay, because I've read research that says like endurance athletes, and I assume you as an you are. You're a bike courier and a through hiker. I don't care. I understand the notion of being an anti-athlete as like coming from like actually starting skateboarding from more of a freestyle sort of perspective. It's like the whole term athlete is off-putting to the crowd, but like. Freaking get over yourselves, you're athletes. Like
it's true. I don't know. I feel like I was an athlete. I don't feel like an athlete right now. I feel like a sack of shit.
Well, with the pandemic.
With the pandemic, you know.
Geez, we're all potatoes now.
I know, and I've been staying busy and trying to do stuff. And I'm biking every day. It's just. I don't know. My kickboxing gym that was close to my house closed down. My climbing gym closed down. I'm just sitting.
This is my workout.
I know.
Working on the.
I know. I'm planning to get a new chair because I've never sat this much in the last 8 years, you know? So it's, I'm not an athlete anymore.
Okay, I'll give you that.
I was last year. I was an athlete.
I mean, we held off.
I loved it.
We held off for the first wave, but the second wave.
Yeah, the second wave. They got us.
I mean, got 'em. I was out training when I couldn't even walk without crutches. I was finding ways to do it, but now awesome. I'm just like, I'm done.
Right?
I'm like, my career is over.
I can't believe it. My life was so busy. My job was so busy. I was doing stuff all the time, and now I have all this time. And I can't seem to do anything. I don't get it. That's how it works. How when I was completely busy, I was getting so much done, and now I have all this time, and I'm trying, but I feel like I'm getting nowhere. I don't know. I feel like I'm just.
Yeah. I mean, I have ideas, but I don't know if we want to go into those.
We gotta wrap it up. All right.
Yeah. So 6 Moon Designs.
You heard it here first. I don't know. I have a few of their tents, the Lunar Solo and the Suit Cuban Fiber, not plus, just the regular, and I actually really like them both a lot. Great products, seams are fine. I have a few Z-Packs tents, and the seam work is shoddy as hell. I can't even believe it. Z-Packs consistently has disappointed me more and more every year. For me, when I started, they were like the pinnacle, and I got my first tarp from them. I look up to them because I feel like they started it. They found Cuban Fiber. Joe, who started Z-Packs.
My ARC 55 was like my gateway pack from Osprey into things that I prefer more, and because I still felt like for a little bit there, I felt like I really wanted that frame that took things off my back so it wouldn't be sweaty. Just like I felt like it.
Seems like a good idea.
It's not a bad idea.
It's not a bad idea.
It's not a bad idea. That's the thing, right?
But they don't use the metal poles. They use the
fiberglass. Right?
Fiberglass poles, and
I think they're
break.
Actually carbon. I think they're carbon strands or something like that. Yes,
but I don't know. They break. They break. I've seen so many breaks and so many through hikes. I mean, they're pretty good about sending a new one, a replacement pole out. So you just jam it right in and slide in and out.
But they don't have lead times on them because they probably bought one of the is it Feathered Friends or no? It's Goose Feet, right? Like the hoods.
The hoods. Oh, the hoods.
Yeah, so I ended up getting one of the hoods, but I got the Z-Packs one. I think I should have gone direct because I think I would have liked the color combinations more. But I got a black and orange one, which for marketing purposes matches my wheels. But
nice.
And I'm happy with that, and I haven't had any problems with my pack from them and stuff like that. But I mean, I may have a good experience, but that doesn't invalidate those that don't, and those that have a bad experience don't invalidate the ones that do. So I mean, like, I get that there's customer service people in these companies like 6 Moon Designs and Z-Packs, and they're working hard and they're doing a good job, and I believe that everyone's in it for the right reasons. Mm. But when it comes down to it, we also that doesn't invalidate the experiences of people that have had issues and, for whatever reason, didn't have a very good customer service experience. So I'm not presenting answers here.
Yeah, I don't want to disparage anyone who's working there either. I still think you're working really hard. I don't.
And the products are great.
The products are great.
We were supposed to do the podcast like the day after they released that last pack, but
yeah, we were, but
I mean,
yeah,
we do need to respect the fact that people are, for whatever reason, to a certain degree. Like, there's some people that are just totally unreasonable, but
I don't know. It was a little shady that they fired 50 people to get under that 100 business limit so they could stay open during COVID. So
that's also partially I would say the government's to blame somewhat for that too, because that's
it should
the
be more
government's
support.
rule.
Yeah,
But here I am in Canada being like, American government.
Oh,
don't want to get into that. Yeah, but we have our own problems up here. Trust me.
That's true. We do have our own problem. If you got to fix your own problems before you can come over here. You know what I'm saying?
Then you can hike the GDT.
Yes, then you can hike the GDT. It's the only way.
That's right.
Gatekeeping, not allowed.
Yep.
No, I'm just joking. Yeah. So
I guess that's good.
That's it.
I mean, that was
awesome.
That was a journey, and it was not in no way a linear thing. We were off trail bushwhacking, up the side of a rock.
You know what? We made it back to the trail, and it was beautiful. All right.
Thank you for getting back to the trail with us.
We're watching the sunset. We're setting up camp. We found a stream.
It's after dark.
Oh, it's after dark. We have headlamps on.
That's right. We brought them. They are 30 grams.
Nightcore. Woo!
Yes.
We're rocking it.
That was a 28 or
yeah,
something.
I hope so. The NU 28. I'm going to be the 20. Ooh. Save that 20 grams.
That's right. That's what I'm all about. Yeah, I'll just hold on to it too.
Yeah, never use it.
I hate holding on to flashlights, but I mean, I don't want to carry a strap.
That's true. I know. I really like the hat clip.
I want a hat clip, but my flashlight's too small. I have to make it.
Damn it.
I know.
All right.
And then weight savings are lost.
It's true.
I just hold it in my mouth and I scratch I chip my teeth, but I can aim it with my tongue.
That's true.
Pro tip.
That's true. Saving weight. Being multifaceted.
Yes, saving weight, having directional headlights that only last for 2 hours at full blast, and then you're pretty much done. Yeah.
That's Ultralight for you, though.
EOS R2, I think it is.
That's beautiful, though. I've done that so many times. It's a rite of passage, really. You need to be hiking to camp as your headlamp dies.
Yeah.
That's beautiful.
Starving.
Parched,
The only reason you're still hiking is because you couldn't stop at the last place because that entire valley is dry.
But don't worry, you've been cold soaking your dinner for the last 2 hours and it's ready to go.
You just got to pull it out of your butt cheeks.
So it's nice and warm. Fuck yeah. That's how you do it. That's a real multi-purpose ultralight setup right there.
Yep.
That's what it's about.
Yeah.
That's what it's really about.
You gotta learn what not to do next time.